Hi, I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen at ElegantInnerGuidance.com. And I'm here today to wind up our discussion regarding inner guidance. And what I've been trying to do throughout the month is to give you practical insight of how you can understand what your inner guidance is and to use that in a practical way each day of your life. Because when you do learn how to tune into that inner guidance, to that inner voice, what you're doing is listening to the messages that are meant for you to allow you to live the life that you're here to live, to allow you to be the person that you're meant to be, and really to allow you to experience your destiny. This morning I happened to talk with a gentleman who, when he heard the name of my business, Elegant Inner Guidance, he kind of thought, he admitted to me later, ooh, it sounded a little woo-woo, and he really wasn't into that. He had a solid religious foundation, and that's what he believed. So when he heard inner guidance, it kind of turned him off a little bit. And I assured him, it's not woo-woo. Matter of fact, if you have a religious background, it's God's voice speaking within you. If you have a religious foundation, you likely believe that God lives within you. And this is how we listen to God, telling us what He wants us to do throughout our life. So let's end this series again with some really practical information. I want you to start to learn and to figure out for yourself, how do you differentiate that inner voice from head knowledge? Because throughout our life, we've listened to our parents telling us what's right and what's wrong, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. We grew up with teachers telling us the same thing. We gather that from the people around us. We observe people doing right or wrong, things that appeal to us, things that don't. And we gather all that knowledge, that head knowledge, to help make decisions for ourselves. And there's a practical use for that information to help guide your life. But what is important to understand is it's not the only information to guide your life. You can use it on one hand to evaluate what's right for you, but then match that information with what you're hearing in your body. Oftentimes we hear people talk about, that little guy or that little gal on their shoulder speaking to him, telling him what to do. It's kind of he or she's the little guilt trip. Like, you really want to do this, but they're telling you, no, you better do this. And you kind of know deep down you really should be doing that, but you really want to do this thing. Or we call it guilt. When we do the thing we do that we think we shouldn't have done, we have guilt over it. Well, that's because deep down you know, and you knew all along in that scenario what you really should be doing. That's because your inner voice is telling you all along the way. So when you know deep down what you should be doing, tune into that. You don't always have to react right now, but you can listen. Listen calmly over time. And if that same message keeps bubbling up, you know that that's your voice, or the voice talking to you. So let's just also talk, we've talked about head knowledge versus heart knowledge. I want to also talk about practical ways in your everyday life this can unfold and what it might look like. I want to give you examples from my own life. So for instance, recently I had an appointment. And on the way to that appointment, I was going to stop at the drugstore because I had a prescription to pick up. And something delayed me getting to my appointment. So instead, I had to really rush out to that and go to that. And I thought, well, no big deal. I'll just pick up my prescription on the way home. Well, by the time my appointment was over with, I totally had forgotten about the prescription. But I'm in the car driving home with totally the intent of going back the same way that I had arrived at the appointment. But when I'm on the street where it was kind of a decision point, I just hear this little message thinking, go this way, when I was going to go this way. So I thought, well, okay, whatever, just a different change of scenery on the way home. But no sooner had I gone down that street and made the turn, and I'm heading home, I realized, oh, Walgreens is down this street, my prescription. Okay, now that's not an earth-shaking moment. I didn't change anybody's life and so forth, but I saved myself an extra trip. There was that little voice sort of just telling me what to do. So that's just a minor instance. But the same situation, the same voice is going to be talking to you in moments that have greater impact on your life. For instance, and I've talked about this in another video, the moment I'm on the road, I can see myself turning onto the entrance of the expressway to go to my job. I'm back in Ohio at the time. And I hear this voice saying, it's time to move to Phoenix. I'm thinking, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't know if I should or what the elements of that voice was. I thought, well, let's just think think about this. Let me test it and see. I had a mother who was aging that I had to take care of, so I had to deal with that. I didn't know if I could afford real estate or living in Phoenix. I had a home in Ohio, and I thought, well, could I afford to buy another home? I didn't know, but I explored it. So I just started to explore the path to moving to Phoenix. And lo and behold, every step of the way, every element that I questioned to find answers to, was a total green light. And each step I took, I could see more clearly, yes, I think Phoenix is in my future. I made the move, and it was doing that, listening to that inner voice to make that move, that I ultimately met a bigger dream in my life, which was meeting my husband. So I met the love of my life because I listened to the Phoenix message. That was an earth-shaking time to listen to a message. Walgreens, not so much. But a Walgreens example, do I go this way or do I go this way on the road, is a good way to start to test your inner voice and to start to tune into that so that you can be hearing at those critical times in life when it's telling you those moments and those decisions that you should be making that lead you down the path to your destiny. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen at ElegantInnerGuidance.com, and thanks so much for stopping by.